Another week of RWBY Volume 8. Another week of stupidity. But if there's one thing I did enjoy was seeing the damn farm boy get exactly what he deserved, because that was therapeutic. He deserved everything he got for punching Neo in the face. Ah, did that feel good to watch him get mauled. Hey, what is going on, everybody? How are you all doing today? I hope you all are having a wonderful and fantastic day today, and if not, hopefully you all will have a better tomorrow. So, RWBY Volume 8 Chapter 2 is finally released to the public, and we're going to take a look at the good, the bad, and the ugly, because you know it's always going to be there. And not only that, but we're going to see if this chapter is better or worse than Chapter 1. So let's go ahead and get started with this. So, looking at it, it starts off with not Qrow Bronwyn, Raven Hillary Clinton, Jacques Schnee, and Watts, all within their prison cells. And one thing that confused me from the start of this is, why is Watts with them? Considering that if you go back to the end of Volume 7, he was in his own cell. So why in the world would they take him and put him with the rest of them? This makes absolutely no sense in my opinion, why they would just take him from one cell to the next and put him with the rest of them. I mean, what? That makes no sense. But not only that, but with Jacques, the one thing to me that they had left on a just complete cliffhanger all the way back in last volume that they've never even tried to work on was the relationship between Watts and Jacques and how they know each other. Never brought it up, and still, even here with this opportunity, did not bring it up yet again. Now, personally, I don't care the relationship because I don't really care about either of their characters, because the writers have given me no reason to care about them. But the big thing is that you would think from a writing perspective they would try to work on that, just to, kind of clue in some things for the audience. Guess not. Guess doesn't matter. Either that or the writers are too stupid to remember it, and they've totally forgotten all about it, because they're talentless hacks. But Robin Hillary Clinton, also, another problem. Can't stand this character. She is blaming everybody else for her problems. She's blaming Jacques for her problem specifically, when she's the one who got herself put in there, as well as Qrow. She started the conflict, and then, of course, what happens? Oh, right. Well, she's got to blame Jacques for it. It's all his fault whenever she was performing terrorist actions by trying to steal from the Atlas military in the last volume anyways. I mean, seriously. If her character was killed off, nothing of value would be lost. I mean, seriously, she is useless. I mean, there's no other way to put it. Now, we got to go on to hashtag not my Qrow Bronwyn. So, not Qrow Bronwyn is over here sulking over a character that died that he only knew for about, a week and a half. Like, he hardly knew the guy. He's acting like he knew him all his life, like he was his own brother or something, when they didn't hardly know each other at all. I mean, seriously. Oh, look, a guy who had a semblance that was similar to my own, the complete opposite of me. I'm so sad. I mean, seriously, this is dumb. Whenever he had a team that was consisted of a character, Summer, that died, his own sister who abandoned everybody, and then, of course, Tai Yang, who him and Tai were never realistically on good terms with each other, but still, the thing is that whatever happened to that picture that he used to remember the good old days as well, like, whatever happened to that? And also, he wants to kill Ironwood when he himself was the one who killed Clover, but yet he's blaming Ironwood for killing Clover, when not Qrow Bronwyn is the one who helped in killing Clover. Not only that, but he teamed up with the villain. Seriously, if you go back to Volume 7 and you watch Chapter 12, you'll see how stupid that entire chapter was. That was the, dumbest chapter, I think, ever, or at least one of the dumbest. It's so stupid. I'm not even kidding. At this point, you could literally say that Raven is the best Bronwyn. And yeah, she was terribly written. Nobody can deny that. But thing of it is that she's not even as stupid as not Qrow Bronwyn is. I mean, seriously, he is a complete and total moron to literally think that, oh, it's Ironwood's fault. How dare he? Like, are you kidding me, you idiot? You teamed up with the villain to kill Clover. Seriously, Raven Bronwyn is the best Bronwyn at this point. She takes the award for it, and not only that, but she's also good to look at, if you know what I mean. But then, of course, you have a news reporter talking about how Ironwood's halted the mantle evacuations and how the Grimm themselves are flying outside the kingdom of Atlas. And you would expect chaos to ensue. You would expect these Grimm to attack. And instead, they're not. They're just kind of flying around doing nothing.
We're waiting.
I mean, seriously, what are they waiting for? You would think they'd be going and attacking Atlas and Mantle. I mean, Grimm, after all, are attracted to negative emotions. And instead, what do we see? Just like 2, maybe 3 Grimm in the streets when there's a whole entire swarm? Like, what? How dumb can this be? Like, if you go back to Volume 3, when the fall of Beacon occurred, right? Well, what happened? The moment that it was set up, the Grimm waited to attack. And then, of course, they attacked at the right opportunity. You know, right when Beacon's defenses were just down, they had got in there. And they were pretty smart then. I mean, they were not stupid. They attacked in waves that actually assisted one another. I mean, the Grimm Wyvern, for God's sake, was able to at least just like plant down the ooze that would summon up other Grimm, and then they would go and attack in the streets. Like, the Grimm back then were pretty threatening. They were pretty smart, and now they're just nothing. I mean, it's dumb. And, of course, though, when it comes to this whole news report, it's Ma'am comes in there. And she just takes the mic. Seriously, this is a way to make people not like a character. I mean, she could have just been like, "Hey, can I have a word for a minute?" No, instead she just goes, "It's Ma'am!" and just threatens to smack the guy with her staff of Ra. I mean, like, this is the way to make the audience not like a character, because there was just no reason for the hostility. I mean, it was stupid. And then she talks about baring their fangs, which a lot of people were thinking that would be a reference to the White Fang, and it's not. It's actually a reference to the Happy Huntresses. It's really stupid. I did not like that. And then, of course, you know, we got Yabby Smash and her squad go and get those motorbikes from Pietro's garage, which, God, those things are so stupid. I'm just going to say, I don't think there's any point to them at all. I think that they're really dumb. But John, of course, whenever they see citizens get attacked by the Grimm, he has this new device, which is like a hard light shield, which I think is just really stupid. They have that now for him. I don't like it. I think it's really dumb. But the shield goes up. The Grimm, you know, instead of showing intimidation or something to present them as fearful creatures, well, they just go and scratch the shield. No, I'm serious. And then Ren just auto kills them. I'm not even kidding. This is absolutely stupid, because clearly the writers don't know how animals work. I mean, this was actually really dumb. Because, one, it shows that the Grimm, yeah, we get that they're stupid, but it shows that they're even dumber than we thought. Not only that, but an animal, they actually have survival instincts. I mean, look, the Grimm may be dumb, but when it comes to an animal would still know better when it comes to an object, and they'd start to walk around it. I mean, you know, this was really stupid. I think it presented the Grimm as creatures that don't even have a survival instinct at all. I mean, this was just bad. Continues to show how terrible the Grimm are and how dumb that the writers make the Grimm. It was just really bad. Really bad. And then Yang starts to talk to the people, trying to evacuate them and save them. And then, of course, there's an old woman who is being racist towards the Faunus, and she's just like, "Well, we don't need the help," you know, like, is really weird. And then Yang, you know, just basically shames the woman for being racist, and then apparently the woman feels guilty, and apparently that's how you solve racism in RWBY, everybody. Oh boy. So then, of course, Yang comes up with an idea on how to get the people in the crater. Now let's talk about the crater for a minute, because this was just shoehorned in there hard, because the crater apparently is an area that the Faunus are in, because apparently the Faunus don't get to live on equal terms in Mantle, which makes absolutely no sense. And why does this not make any sense? Well, let me explain why this makes absolutely no sense. Because if you go back one volume ago, well, the Faunus and the humans were living on equal terms with one another. They were working together. They were also going through the same pain together. So where did this idea come from? You know, the only reason why they probably did it was because they were like, "Oh, well, we need to show the Faunus being oppressed." You know what they could have done? Was made a White Fang plot in the previous story that could have lapped into this one. Nope, didn't do that apparently. Ugh. And then, of course, you know, they decide to use Ren's semblance to mask people so that the Grimm don't detect them. And then Ren apparently states that he doesn't think he can do it. I don't understand how he thinks he can't do it, when we've seen him do this twice already. Which, another thing I just wanted to bring up, why is it that Yang, Oscar, Jean, and Ren weren't gray like the others were that were being masked with it. That doesn't make any sense to me. But also, if you look back a volume ago, during the whole issue with the Grimm, whenever they're trying to attack, then you have Ren use a semblance. Jean cloaks him so that he can spread his semblance to multiple people. And then, of course, back in Volume 6, we see it again when the Grimm are attacking the train for the relic. And then that's when Ren masks the whole entire train, which could be 100, maybe a little over 100 people. So for Ren to say that he can't do it, I don't believe that, because we've seen it. So it's absolutely ridiculous, and it doesn't make any sense. I mean, it's bad writing, because he's done it before. So to say that he doesn't know that he can or not, that's stupid, because he can, and we've seen it. Doesn't make any sense. And we see his aura flicker there also and say that he's a focus. Whenever he was in a much more extreme situation back in Volume 7 when the Grimm were attacking, and they were like right there. I mean, seriously, it's ridiculous. And then, of course, you have Oscar, and he's talking to Ozpin about how he doesn't want to become Ozpin. You see, here's my problem with this, is that while their souls are going to merge as one, well, what does Oscar want with his life? This has never been determined. We don't even know if he has any dreams or goals. See, if Ozpin had not even been there, then what would Oscar have even done with his own life in the first place? This is why I don't care about Oscar, because they've never given the audience a reason to genuinely care about Oscar. And they continue to not do so. I mean, he still doesn't even have a goal. I mean, you would expect they would have done something to make you care, but he's just a puppet for Ozpin. That's really all he is, and I just don't care about him. Of course, there's the scene with Fiona, and it's Ma'am! And I don't really care for it's Ma'am at all. I don't like her. Fiona, she's kind of interesting, actually. Too bad they didn't try to actually do something with her more last volume, but of course, they don't know how to write, so yeah, they didn't. Which also we find out that the possum or raccoon faunus, whatever that old man is, that's her uncle. And so, I think that Fiona's kind of cool. I'll give them credit on that. She's actually somewhat interesting, but I doubt they're going to do anything with her, which is a real shame. And then Yang, let's all at least be proud for Yang. She got the tumor named Blake removed from her body. I am so happy to see that, at least, although it doesn't make me like Yang. But I'm just saying, it feels better to not have to see them glued to each other all the time. So there's that. That's a plus. And then Fiona talks about how they did good without their teammates, which was surprising to her, which is strange to me because Fiona's never seen them in action. So how does that work? Whatever. And then, of course, Yang takes that offensively and gets mad about that. I'm like, are you kidding me? Just take the damn compliment. But even then, of course, Yang being a smartass, it always gets on my nerves. Like I said, they just continue to dig Yang's character into a hole, and I just cannot stand her. I really cannot stand her character. Now, when it comes to RWBY and her group, they're trying to get to Amenity Arena so they can get Amenity up and to warn the people of Salem and how she's in Remnant. And then they decide that they're going to go through this snowshoe company, I think it's called, if I remember right. And basically it's owned by the Shanitas company where they transport goods. And so Weiss tells them that they can basically get up into the academy that way so that they can get to Amenity and then warn everybody what's going on. Of course, there's a little bit of fun banter here and there between the characters, and seems pretty alright with lighthearted music. And then, of course, well, it goes from interesting to just bad, and just a quick moment. Because you have Penny, who's starting to think for herself, which is good for her character, actually. And then, of course, you have RWBY, who, whenever Penny brings up about how she doesn't want her friends to fight, RWBY immediately comes to one conclusion.
Oh, well, she must mean between me and Yang and the rest of us fighting because it's not good. Well, I understand you, Penny.
And then Penny is talking about her actual friends. Ironwood, Winter, the Aesops, the fighting between all of that. And, when you think about it, Penny, I gotta give Penny credit here. As an android character, she seems more human than most of the characters in the show, and it makes sense that she would worry of the fighting between the people that she knows as her friends, that are basically essentially like her own family in a sense, because, Ironwood and Winter, she spent more time with them than she spent with Team RWBY, so there's that. But how does RWBY take this? What is her perspective? Well, instead of actually seeing it from Penny's perspective, as she should, and try to help her with this, well, what does she do? All right, she gaslights the situation. Because RWBY has that mentality of a pinhead, because she thinks that if you're not with me, you're my enemy. You know, that's her thought process. So she just goes on about how Ironwood's not your friend. He never was your friend. He's just a bad man. We're your friends now when you just join us. Just think like us. You know, instead of caring about people's feelings like Penny is doing, you know, which hilariously enough, Penny is an android. Someone who is still trying to understand emotions. RWBY's a human, and RWBY is over here like, nope, nuh-uh, don't care. Don't care unless you're with me. Like, wow, just RWBY, get out of here. I mean, like, seriously, an android who's still trying to understand emotions and feelings is better at doing that than you. Get out, RWBY. Like, you don't have any right to give anybody advice. Get out. And then Weiss comes up with an idea of taking the chutes up into Atlas to be able to get up there to Amenity Arena. And I gotta say, this scene was actually kind of comical. I mean, it actually kind of goes back to the old slapstick humor that RWBY used to have. And then, of course, Nora kills Weiss. Like, just, you know, you just see her press the button, Weiss is dead. All right, GG. Good game, Weiss. Nora, just press the buttons on other characters. Make sure they don't come back. I would feel great. That'd make me feel good. I mean, that'd make me feel good. But, you know, the look on RWBY's face is like, oh, you killed her. Like, I had to point that out because just like, she's looking at Nora like, she's laughing at this? Like, what? Like, when RWBY herself is like, one of the most emotionless characters, like, one of the most dehumanized characters I think I've ever seen in the show. And, you know, she's like freaking out. But, of course, going back to, you know, Team Yabby Smash. You know, like, you have, you know, them fighting a Grimm, which, yet again, makes the Grimm not seem intimidating at all. Like, I mean, just a one shot is really bad. And then these motorcycles, I can't stand them, by the way. I think that they're just completely pointless. I do. Now, then the Hound comes in, and God, did I love this moment, at least. I'll give them credit on something. While this episode, for the most part, was boring and awful, I took pleasure in watching Oscar get completely mauled. This was one of the funniest moments for me, because I just thought, this is exactly what the damn farm boy gets for punching the best girl in the face last volume. You deserve every ounce of this and more. Like, oh man, this was therapeutic to me. I was enjoying seeing Oscar get mauled, and it was good to actually see a Grimm come in there and do something. Also, I wanted to point out something with the animation here. Do you see Oscar's body in this frame? Do you see his body and how it's just like, he's so stretched, like the torso is just, that's not how a torso works. I don't know who's doing the choreography over there, but I'm going to tell you right now, this is not how a torso bends. That's like his spine just got snapped. And I mean, look, it still happened again. It was twice, back to back. I mean, this was horrible. This was just bad in terms of animation. Like, it was that weird stretchy animation that we've been seeing that they've been having an issue with. But, hey, you know what? This is well-deserved to Oscar for what he did to Neo. So, you know what? I'm at least happy to see that he got mauled here. This was fun for me because I thought you didn't deserve to punch Neo in the face. She should have reacted to that. And then the writers just were stupid with her character. But talking about that, because we're going to get into this for a quick moment, when it comes to Oscar trying to fight back, I love how nobody tried to save him. I love how nobody was like, just trying to jump in. That was hilarious because it's like, oh yeah, look at him kicking him. You got it, Oscar. And then he's just kicking the thing, and then Grimm's just beating him up still, and it was so good. It was like a level 1 Magikarp that only knew Splash versus a level 100 Electric type Arceus. Oh my lord, it was so good. This was just fantastic. I loved it. But the power scaling's off because you could see that Oscar, you know, he was able to not entirely fight on par with Neo, but he was still fighting decently. And so it goes to show that the power scaling there is completely off, which was dumb in my opinion. But hey, it's RWBY, who expects the power scaling or anything to be consistent for that matter. And then, of course, the Grimm is actually smart because not only did he beat up Oscar, which I'm so proud of, but he also used him as a meat shield. Now, the only thing that was really disappointing to me here, though, was that this fight was not really good. I mean, it was basically just the Grimm like, oh, hey, look, I'm going to use him as a meat shield. But I did like the part where Yang got completely hammered. That was great, where he just grabs her and just throws her into the wall. Like, that was also enjoyable to watch. I'm not gonna deny this was deserved, and it felt good to actually see the antagonist do something. To see a Grimm of all things actually just beat them all up. Like, we haven't seen Grimm actually be successful, and finally we're seeing Grimm actually be successful. Like, this is actually good. I'm glad to see that we're seeing a Grimm do something, but I hate that it took this long for it to happen. Also, let me just talk about Ren here. Ren, why in the world would he even think that lunging full body at this Grimm, when it failed with Yang, why did he think this was going to succeed the second time when it failed the first time? I mean, seriously, that Grimm just slammed him into the wall. And I just thought that was kind of funny because, I was just like, how are you that dumb? If it didn't work with Yang, then why is it going to work with you? You know what I mean? Like, if it didn't work once, it's not going to work again. And this is why this fight was not really all that good, because it just resulted in the same factor. It's like, oh yeah, let's rush him because rushing him is a good idea, right? Like, he's going to use the stupid farm boy as a meat shield, and then he's just going to slam you. Like, what? I mean, they had no strategy to this plan. They all just kind of got nailed. Now, when it comes to an intelligent Grimm, this is something that should have been done a long time ago. If anybody thinks this is good writing now, well, they're mistaken, because this is something that should have come Volume 3, Volume 4, especially Volume 4. The Nuka-Lave could have been the perfect time to actually have an intelligent Grimm that could talk, that could do all of this, that this Grimm is now doing. Now, while I'm at least glad to see that they realize that there are still smart Grimm, because back in Volume 2, Oobleck was talking to RWBY about how Grimm could become intelligent enough that, they wait for the right opportunity to strike. And over time, Grimm are known to mature. They are known to become smarter. So, to finally see this is a good thing, but the Nuka-Lave, you would have expected it to be maybe the first Grimm to have actually been intelligent, which, sadly enough, we didn't get that out of it as well, which is a shame. And also, I think that this Grimm, personal opinion, is actually just copied from Venom, because, look, the wings. Now, you're probably thinking, well, how is that a copy of Venom? Well, his body is just liquidy like a symbiote, and then, of course, the wings. Like, you can't tell me this isn't taken from Venom. You cannot tell me that they didn't look at Venom and go, oh, yeah, this is our inspiration for the Grimm Hound, because this is definitely the inspiration for the Grimm Hound. There's no way it's not. But it feels good to at least see a Grimm win for a change, because, my God, how many times have these Grimm been just nothing but cannon fodder and just been killed right off the bat? So, at least there was that. But, when it comes down to it, I mean, the fight was not good. It just was not great. It could have been done better, I think, could have been more strategic, and it just wasn't. And then whenever the Grimm starts to walk away, they're like, oh, let him go. And the Grimm's just like, no. And they're all shocked. Like, professional huntsmen know that Grimm can be intelligent. This shows that Ren back a volume ago was like, yeah, maybe we weren't ready to be professional huntsmen. Yeah, and I totally agree with him on that. So, what are my overall thoughts on this chapter? Well, it's boring. Just like the previous one, it's boring. I mean, what more do I need to say? I mean, like I said, I enjoyed watching the damn farm boy get mauled. I mean, that was great. That was, bravo. I liked that part. That was good. Seeing Yang get slammed to a wall was also great. But aside from that, like, I just didn't care. Penny, at least as a character, in my opinion, she's conflicted because she's a maiden as well as she's trying to, find a way to make everything right between her friends, so they don't fight. And then, of course, you got RWBY, who's as dumb as a doorknob, who, is just gaslighting Penny, which you'll see that again, by the way, because I've seen Chapter 3, and there's more of that. So it's going to continue to happen. There's going to be more gaslighting in the volume, I bet. I mean, like, there was at least, one little slapstick comedic scene, which was okay. But for the most part, it was just boring. The fight wasn't exciting. It was just kind of meh. Animation issues yet again. Like I said, it just... it continues to be boring. It doesn't continue to be thrilling or exciting. And also, the Grimm outside of the city, why aren't they attacking? They are attracted to negative emotions. There should be just pandemonium going on in Mantle. Like, the Grimm should be attacking the citizens. I mean, they should. I don't see any reason why they're not. It's just stupid. Obviously, it's just the writers want it to happen when they want it to happen rather than when it should be happening. It's really stupid. And then, Ren being inconsistent with his semblance, which is kind of dumb because Jean, we've already seen Jean help him before, and Bryn's just basically lying about it. And then not Qrow Bronwyn being an idiot. Same with Robin Hillary Clinton, how she's blaming everybody for her problems when she was a terrorist last volume. I mean, seriously, she's a terrible character. And then, of course, you have not Qrow Bronwyn being a moron, blaming Ironwood for Clover's death when he's actually the one who teamed up with the enemy to kill Clover. Like, seriously, both of those characters are idiots. And, this chapter, if anything, it was just boring at best. It was just really boring. But anyways, I'll be back again on Wednesday. Let me know what you think about this entire situation down below. Subscribe to the channel if you are new here, and make sure you are still subscribed because YouTube is unsubscribing people from all their favorite channels. So make sure you are still subscribed to all your favorite channels. Hit the video with a like, and also be sure to share the video on social media. Spread the word and get it out there. It's greatly appreciated, and it really helps out the channel a lot. Also, be sure to follow me on Discord. We have a wonderful community there. Not only that, but it will keep you up to date on when the newest videos will be released, as well as any other upcoming events in the near future. So be sure to follow me on Discord. The link is in the description down below. But anyways, I hope you all have yourselves a wonderful and fantastic day today. And remember, if today was not a good day, tomorrow can always be better. Take care of yourselves and everyone around you. And have yourselves a good one out there, everybody.